We should be coming up for the broadcast. Yep. We're on YouTube. No, we're on the tech. We're on Facebook. Are we coming up on YouTube yet?
Well, I got to reset for both of those. Okay, that's working. And I got to figure out how to make sure we're on YouTube.
It says we're live and 5 people are watching, so
looks like we're 3 of the 5.
Oh, Geeks on Tour, I think is they're Chris or Jim are here. Oh, they're going to be criticizing us. You wait. They want to see how many mistakes we can make.
We're going to have a contest.
Jim's probably laughing his head off saying, those dummies. Oh, Mike Ungerman's here. And so we are streaming. They're all YouTube. So, yeah. Jim says, watch out. Or maybe that's Chris. Chris is too nice. She wouldn't say that. It must be Jim. Yeah.
Well, I can't get it on YouTube. I can't figure out how to find it on my TV.
Yeah, Jim says it's only Jim, so we'll see. So everyone that's waiting on our streaming services, we'll get going at the top of the hour. We haven't figured out any fancy intros or outros yet, so we haven't figured all that out. So we'll just start at 9 o'clock. It's pretty low key, and we're just going to talk with the tech guys.
Do we have enough time for me to get a cup of coffee?
Yeah, we got 3 minutes.
Yeah, okay. I'll be right back.
Okay.
I'm not able to get on the TV to the stream. Now, why?
I don't know. Mike says search YouTube for Tech for Senior - Live.
That's what I did. Oh, there we go. There it is. Okay, make sure it's muted. Good. Mute myself to clear my throat. And how do we get this bigger? There we go.
It froze here last night, but what a nice day it's going to be. It's just the sun is pouring out. It's going to be just a gorgeous day.
Yeah, here too.
I got to work this afternoon and get my presentation for Monday going. I really want to go biking this afternoon. It's going to be a gorgeous day. Yeah.
I'm working on my presentation for Sunday.
Oh, yeah.
Monday's good. Not. I haven't put a lot of time in it yet, but Mondays is done, so that's good.
Okay. That's good. Bob, did you get your coffee? There you go. What do we got? 1 minute left, and then we will get going.
Must be slower out there. Oh, yeah, that's right. My 1 clock is a minute fast.
That's so you're never late.
No, that's because it runs a little fast, and I got to change the time every once in a while.
Jim says they're doing a show this week. Oh, good. So they're going to have a show. Alan have you got Alan Schaefer from Mesa wants an extra cup of coffee. Have you got another cup there, Bob?
I got a cup, but it's got to get warmed up first.
All right. Good morning, everyone. It's now 9 o'clock. It's Tech for Senior Live. Yes, live. So what the heck is Tech for Senior Live? Well, most of you probably know us from the Tech for Senior show that occurs on Monday. This is an action-packed show where we do a lot of technology talk, and we have, of course, the three of us presenting and another two presenting information. So what we wanted to do is just get together. We have so much fun just sitting around, the three of us talking about technology. We wanted to do a show where we just sit around and talk. And we'll certainly answer your questions. It's sort of laid back. I think we all have our coffees. I have my coffee. Bob's got his. Huey, no coffee. Well, you're later. You're. I'm just in the morning.
It's noon. I've already eaten lunch.
Yeah, right. Exactly. So let me introduce. Most of you know me. Introduce Bob and Huey, co-hosts of the show today. Huey, of course, is my co-host on Tech for Senior on Monday. He has that famous website called Huey.net and is a sort of a famous guy, right? You've been in computers a long time, done a lot of shows. Anything you want to say to introduce yourself?
No, I'm just glad to be here.
And Bob, of course, is sort of a world famous guy, or in Canada, United States, because he travels across Canada, United States, talking about security. And I have some security questions today for Bob. And so he is, he's also on Tech for Senior on Mondays. And in most of the time when I'm traveling around the internet all week, we meet at different shows, and he's always on everything. You know, we're probably talking on a daily basis. So anyway, we're here today. We're going to, we have a few things to talk about. Let's see who's in the audience. We can go down here. And of course, I mentioned earlier, Jim Gould from Geeks on Tour, of course, is here. And Jim has been helpful in helping us set up the Tech for Senior and our live broadcast as well. They do that as well with their shows on Sunday. So he's been certainly helpful for us. Thanks, Jim, a lot. Mike Ungerman is here. Mike, of course, is a friend of Huey's and is on. He comes to most of our Tech for Senior shows on Monday. And Alan, of course, is always trying to mooch an extra coffee. Alan's a friend of mine. Alan's a friend of mine in Mesa, Arizona. I talk at his computer club all the time. So hello, Alan, and welcome. And Joan's here. She's frequently on our Monday show as well. So that's the. They all look like they're all from YouTube. I don't see any over on Facebook, which is interesting. So we'll see how that goes. So, Bob, you know, I had a question for you today. We had a question from one of our viewers, and she said she went to that site, I've Been Pawned. And she put her email address in and found out that she had indeed been pawned. So I thought, well, that's interesting. And she asked me what to do about it. And I said, well, I don't know. And then I thought, well, before the show today, I thought I'd go and I'd check my email address. So I went over to I've Been Pawned and I put my email address in. And you never guess what? I have been pawned. You know, I've been pawned. What the heck? And now it's the most bizarre thing because it says, now I don't know what pastes are, but it says I've been pawned in 2 data breaches, but no pastes were found. So I guess maybe they didn't paste my email address or something. Maybe it's not active. And I have absolutely no idea. One was called COVVE, which is COVE, which was COVE is a CRM or contact management software. Mm-hmm. I have no idea what it is. I've never used it. And the other one was that City 0 Day where there were 13 billion files that were hacked. So I have no idea how my email got in that. But I mean, I've had my email address for years, right? So I mean, it's probably, if it's in some database and they've all been hacked so many times, it's going to end up on I've been pawned. So what can you tell us we should do if we put our name in there and it tells us something? What should we do?
First step, change your password. And change your password before a hacker does. Because if a hacker has your information, they can also change your password. And guess what? If they change it, you're now locked out. Sure, that's not something you want to see happen. So if it shows up on you've been pawned or I've been pawned, by the way, on Facebook, I think it was yesterday or the day before yesterday, I had put together a tutorial on exactly this topic. Also realize that the breach, although it's now top notch, everybody's talking about it. Actually, the breach goes back to 2019. This is not a brand new breach, but it's now come to light. The information's being shared. So now, of course, it's top news. You should, on a regular basis, actually check the emails that you use to make sure they didn't wind up in a hack. Right. Remember, even the most careful person, I don't care how strong your password is, if the site that you use it on gets hacked, the hacker has your information. There's nothing you can do about it.
Right. So how often should we change our passwords?
Changing isn't necessarily it. Has it been hacked? If it's been breached and somebody has your information, the sooner you change it, the sooner you'll again be safe. If it's not breached, there's really no reason to change your password.
Is that what pasting means on there when it said there were no pastes? Is that what it means?
Well, it means that your information has not been utilized in any kind of scams.
Oh, okay.
One of the things that they do with this, if you're a well-known person and they have your information, they now start sending out emails with your information. Your friends think it's coming from you.
Right.
And they may just act on some of the stuff that's in it because they think it's coming from you and they trust you. Right. This is where the danger comes in.
So Vail Williams, who I know very well, Vail's a smart guy. We work in the tech support in our computer club. He says, don't forget about two-factor authentication. What do you think about that?
Automatic. Anything that offers two-factor, it's the first thing you should grab because it's one more way to keep your stuff safe. It's highly unlikely that a hacker at the time that they steal your information also would have gotten a hold of your cell phone. And if they can't get that code that's sent, even though they have the rest of your information, they still won't get to your account.
Yes, indeed. Well, I have two-factor, and Mike Ungerman as well says turn on two-factor. Of course, I have two-factor turned on for all my accounts. I've taught. Where did Huey go?
Maybe he's getting a cup of coffee.
I think we just lost somebody, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Just watch for him to come back.
Yeah, I will. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so two-factor is something that for sure we want to make sure that we turn on. And you actually didn't you put you mentioned you put the video on Facebook?
Yes, it's on the Tech for Senior Facebook page.
Right. So it's not a serious thing. If you see your name on I've Been Pawned and it hasn't been pasted, turn on two-factor, change your password and that sort of thing, and you should be okay. Eh?
Unless you get notifications from your friends that, hey, I'm getting all kinds of mail from you. It's not the kind of stuff you should be sending me. Then you got a more serious problem.
Okay.
And at that point, the only thing you can really do is to change your email address. You can keep the same name, but you'd have to change it to a different server.
Right. All right. Well, that's pretty good. Hey, Bob, did you hear that LG's stopping making phones this week? Did you get that information?
Yeah, they're out of the phone business.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
They did say that they were still going to get updates for the next 3 years. So even though they don't make phones anymore, to me, the most important part is, am I still getting updates?
That's
Are they
right.
still updating my operating system? Am I still getting the security updates? That's the important part.
Yeah.
So just because you can't buy a new LG, if your old one's still being updated, no reason to get rid of it.
You know, it was interesting. I was at Costco a couple of days ago here, and as I went in, they have the electronics part on the right-hand side, not the kiosk where they're selling them, but on the right-hand side where all the electronics is. They had big aisles of LG phones, and I thought, come on, you guys, you should get rid of those things. 'Cause they weren't a special deal or anything. They were just all there, and I thought you gotta get on your toes on that one. Because I think if you're going to choose a cell phone now, it's probably not the best idea to choose an LG, eh?
Well, it depends on money. LG, if they're not going to make any more, what they have in stock is probably going to get sold at a pretty good price. And since you're going to still get updates for 3 years, 3 years is a long time to hold on to a phone. So if the phone itself has all the features you want, if it's got a great camera, and if the price, because it's no longer being made, happens to be great, why not?
Joel just said, Ron, I saw your presentation on wearables. What was the new big announcement? You didn't. Okay. Saw 2019 part 1 and part 2. Yes, indeed. Well, I just released a new video last night. If you go over to Tech for Senior channel, you'll be able to see the video, and it's all the updated information on wearable technology in 2021. But the big the big announcement that will be coming this year will be, of course, the diabetic management and the bloodless or blood fluidless, I guess, blood sugar ability. So you're going to be able to see that there will be the probably the Apple Watch 7. The Samsung has already leaked their Galaxy 4, and I'm sort of thinking that Facebook will, Google with their Fitbit line will probably come in pretty quick with this, and you'll be able to get ambulatory blood sugar monitoring right off your watch without actually having any poking or pricking. And this is done through laser technology in the skin. So we'll more to come. This is certainly going to be lots of videos for me to make. This is going to be a fun time. I can be pretty prolific on this one. And so this is all exciting stuff and will be happening probably later on. I'm not sure what Apple's going to do. I think their big deal, their big meeting of the year is probably in August or something. And whether they'll announce it at that time, I'm not sure. But it's interesting because when we look at all these newsletters, all this technology news stuff that we look at, here's Huey's back. Huey, what'd you go to the bathroom?
Somebody did something to my internet, and it went away.
Oh, really?
I haven't lost internet in months, even for a minute or two. Wouldn't you know, it would be today.
Oh, really? Anyway, so coming back to what I was saying, so it'll be, so there's going to be lots of information about this later on this year. And it's the cost to, because there's no consumables, right? We're talking about the new blood sugar monitoring with the wearables. Joel had a question about that. And so you don't need any consumables, right? So the typical amount of money that a diabetic would spend with consumables each year is about $1,000, which would go down to nothing. So the cost savings is going to be in the billions of dollars of this. My advice to everyone is buy Apple stock. Buy Apple stock. Let's have a look. Leanne Smith is here. Hi, that's great. That's good news. Leanne is a Facebooker. Now I'm interested. She's come in on YouTube, so I wonder why she didn't look at the Facebook feed. Okay. Anyway, she's going to probably answer that. Huey, have you got anything to talk about this morning?
Oh, I certainly do.
Do you really?
Yeah. Somebody I know was going to do something about some artificial intelligence and that sort of thing because of wearing the headsets and so on. And
It's
Microsoft
coming. It's coming.
signed a huge, I think it was 483 million or billion. I can't remember. I had it all up on the screen, but I had to reboot with the trying to get back on here. So I don't have the article right at hand. I will get it back up here in a minute. But they signed a huge contract with the U.S. government. And so it's going to pretty much go mainstream very quickly and become something that a lot of us will see benefits from. Not only will the government hide a lot of things from us and make it so it's being used for protecting our country, but I'm sure, like everything else that the government gets involved in, there's a lot of spin-offs in quality for, after all, we got Tang from the government and other great things. So it's going to be interesting where this all goes, because it's using their Halo lens, which is different than your ocular,
Quest.
whatever it is. But it is similar. But I was listening to one of the other programs similar to ours, but with a few more viewers and so on.
Hold on. Whoa. There is a program out there that has more than our viewers?
Yeah, I'm afraid
Really?
so. But anyway, they were saying, people, and there are a few people on here that are kind of leery of sharing things with the rest of the world. Well, with this artificial intelligence and that's coming out, a lot of it's going to involve the real world combining with the artificial intelligence. So you're going to be walking around your room and you can see your table and what's on it and so on, but you're also going to be involved in whatever event that you're partaking in using this artificial intelligence. And where they were going with it was, well, on your table, you have Diet Coke instead of Diet Pepsi, or you have some other device and they can see what it is. So people are going to be able to see what you actually consume. So if you're afraid of letting people know you using Facebook and Google and all these other things, all of a sudden if you use any of this, they're going to know a lot more about you than you ever thought they were going to know. They're going to see everything you have on your table, your desk, your kitchen table, your countertops, wherever you walk through the house. All of those items are going to be there.
Well, and so what Huey's referring to is I bought a Oculus Quest earlier this year, and I've been promising to get a series of videos out on this or presentations and give them on Monday. But you guys talk so much, I can't get a word in edgewise. You got so many presentations. I've got to be lined up to do my present. So I am, honestly, on Monday, I told Ray Baxter, I said he can't do his new computer talk. He's got to do it a couple of weeks later. I will get my first edition of the all about the Oculus Quest on Monday. We'll do our first part of that. All right. I want to talk about, the good news is we have Clark Walker says, looks like I'm alone on Facebook. Not anymore. You've got one other person. We're trying to figure out why we don't get more on our Facebook feed. Hi, guys. I have a very new, fast HP Envoy NV360 laptop. Good for you. That's great. And also we have John Roy on and says, I've been on Facebook from the start. Wow. I'm not a Facebook fan, but wanted to some Facebook feedback. Yeah.
Thanks, John.
It's thanks a lot for being on because we're streaming to both. It's sort of exciting for us because we're going on two different feeds. I guess when we're talking about PCs, here we should mention that our Learning Chromebook's coming up, eh?
Yes, next week.
Is it next week? Oh my gosh!
Yes.
Holy
mackerel. I hope they come up with something about Chromebooks so we can have something to talk about.
You guys have been talking about privacy, and I've spent the last 2 weeks putting together all kinds of tutorials specifically on privacy. because most people don't realize privacy information. The information we share is actually money that we're giving away to all of people like Facebook, like Google, like Microsoft. They thrive on that stuff. That's how they make their money. And it's up to us to make sure that we share only the parts that we're comfortable in sharing. And by default, we share virtually everything. If you don't go in and make changes, default settings, share as much as at all possible. And the topics that I've been covering are Amazon, Facebook, Google, Instagram, LinkedIn, Skype, and Twitter. So, and those are the things that most of us use, and you'd be surprised just how much information you're giving away. You're not getting paid for it. You're just giving it to them as a present.
So I got something interesting to tell you guys. I was about a week ago, probably a couple of weeks ago, I was looking at buying my new e-bike, right? So I was, I think you guys know this. I bought but in the research, I was on YouTube. In fact, my wife came in and said, "Are you ever going to get out of that chair?" Like 3 hours I was on YouTube looking at all the reviews on e-bikes. Like it goes forever, right? So that's Google, right? So then I go over to check our Facebook page, just to see what's going on over there. And bingo, I was set up with an ad about e-bikes. Now, bingo, it's like Google is like an arch rival of Facebook. They're not linked. And of course, that comes back to third-party tracking cookies, right? Now, have you guys heard about you're going to get flocked? Do you know what flocked means? Have you been reading the articles? But everyone's going to get, all our readers today are going to get flocked. And so this is interesting. And this was announced by Google this week. Now, what is flock? Now, federated learning of cohorts. Now, what the heck is that? So, all right. So let me explain how this is all going to work. So what Bob is talking about is we have tracking cookies that are on our browser. Google, Chrome has tracking cookies that go in there. And when I did my bike thing on YouTube, and then I went to Facebook, there must have been a tracking cookie put on my in my browser, and that's what brought up the ads in Facebook. So Google has decided to do away with third-party tracking cookies. Now, they're going to replace this. As you all know, when we go to YouTube, excuse me, and we're in YouTube, YouTube is based on an algorithm. In other words, it's based on what you do and how you perform in Facebook, and that's how your searches are done. It's not based on tracking. And so Google is going to do away with the tracking, and they're going to go to an algorithm. So in other words, you'll be put, based on your searches, you'll be put into a certain segment of a group. You'll be put in a group, and that's what you'll be. You won't get any less ads. They're just going to be different, and that's how they're going to work it. And there won't be any third-party tracking. Now, nobody's very happy with this, particularly in industry, because that means Google will control it all, right? Third-party tracking is something that Google isn't really controlling, but of course now this will all be based on this new algorithm that's going to be coming, and they're going to be doing that, and that's called Flock, F-L-O-C, and that will be coming out very shortly. So that was an interesting news item this week. Did you hear about that, Bob? Did you read about that?
Yeah, but do you think that really that Microsoft is not also working on the exact same thing?
Yeah.
And Amazon and all the rest of them. Birds of a feather flock together.
That's right. Vail says it's called targeting. Yeah, Vail, I think
that's correct.
Right. You're right. I mean, I'm not going to say you're getting less ads. You'll get the same. But anyway, I always like it when I go to bed at night and I dream about something. Amazon has it on sale the next day. I don't know how they do that, but I mean, I think it's cool, really.
It's your smartwatch that tracks your sleep patterns, and it picks up your dreams.
That's it. Yeah, exactly.
But then again, do you want targeted advertising, or do you just want advertising? If it's advertising, that's going to be about stuff you don't even care about. At least when
Right.
it's targeted,
Right.
it's something you're
Yep.
interested in.
Yeah.
I wish they would figure out a way that once I buy the product, I don't want to see all the ads anymore.
Well, usually
Exactly.
then you get ads for the accessories that go with what you just bought.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind that. But if you're looking at an e-bike, I'm sure Ron's still, even though he bought one, he's still getting a lot of ads for
I am.
different brands of
Yeah.
e-bikes.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm getting. I'm
He
getting them all the
he
time.
might need to see an ad for a replacement for his mirror for his e-bike.
I told these guys that I guess I'll cough up and tell everyone. I was so proud. I had all my new outfit on. I had my new camera on the e-bike, and I went for a ride, and I did really well. I mean, these are a big bike. It's heavy. It's got lots of battery and lots of technology on it. And I came home, and I'm coming into got into the driveway, and I just was about to stop and get off, and when I raised my right leg to come off it, I sort of lost my balance because it's pretty high because it's got really thick tires, and I lost my balance and ended up in the bushes, right? So as I'm laying there in the bushes with my feet up, and my pride hurting, I'm wondering about the show today, thinking if I can't move and I've broken something, these guys are going to kill me, right? So anyway, that's life. And I only broke the mirror, but I was able to fix that. There's no scratches on the bike, and everything was fine. So anyway, it's live and learn. So that's
we're not as young as we think we are sometimes, and we can't lift our legs as high as we used to.
Yeah.
We can't step as high as we used to.
I know. Oh, Billy, do you know did you see that article about SpaceX? Do you know how much it costs to make one of those SpaceX?
Yeah, they've got it down to about $1,300 to $1,500 now.
Yeah, but
it was a lot higher than that.
It was $3,000, and so they're coming on the market. What is it, $500 to get one?
Yeah, $499 they're selling them for.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So they're making zero with a loss on everyone they sell, but they have in mind that within they keep bringing the price down, and they're should be able to get the price down to about $200 cost. So eventually, either the $499 will lower or they'll make some money on it.
Exactly. Mike says if you go to social media platform with no advertising, you'll get no advertising. Yeah, but who's going to pay for it? That's the problem. Is with our all the stuff we're doing, social media, YouTube, everything. I mean, it's all YouTube made in the last quarter of the 2020. They grossed $24 billion for the quarter. But that wasn't profit. It cost them $16 billion to run the thing, right? So, the power, the energy, and all the stuff and the equipment someone's got to pay for it. But even Vail points out an interesting one. Vail says even in incognito mode, you still get monitored. That's right. Yeah.
Correct.
So,
Correct.
yeah. So anyway. Oh, Jim says, I love our e-bikes. Yeah, they're cool. I mean, the thing about an e-bike that's really amazing, I had no idea, was how fast they go. And really, it can replace, well, I'm not going to say it's going to replace a car, but I mean, as far as transportation and how far you can go around town, it's really amazing how mine goes about, I guess it goes about 25 miles an hour. I guess at the top speed, maybe more, but it's it's pretty cool.
25 miles an hour when you have nothing around you is pretty fast.
Yeah. Mike says I do pay for an account on MeWe. I don't know that. What's MeWe? Do you?
It's like Facebook, but you pay for it and there's no ads.
Right.
Is anyone on it? I've never heard of it.
I got on it and I had a troll. I had to ask some friends. So I think I have 2 or 3 friends on it now.
Oh, okay. Do you know at any one time on Facebook, there's 1 billion people. At any time of the day, there's 1 billion people on Facebook. Pretty amazing. Yeah.
Yep.
Amazing.
Speaking all different languages. And
They
now
do.
with automatic translations, it really doesn't matter. You could speak to somebody, you speak one language, they speak another, and you could have it automatically translated so you can actually converse with someone, even though you don't speak the same language.
Mhm.
Yeah, one time not too long ago, they used to have the button to change the language very close to where anything else was. And I hit a button and all of a sudden everything was in Portuguese.
Yeah.
Including how to get back. So I didn't know how to get back. So I had to go open up another window and pick out words and see if I could translate to figure out which word was where I could choose to go back to the to go back to English. And I finally figured that out. And then about a week later, somebody else had the same problem and posted it. And I said, "Oh, I know what happened. It happened to me." But yeah, just one button, boy, and everything was in a different language.
Yep.
Joel says a local consultant says, if you're not a paying customer, you are the product. That's a good one.
That's correct.
Isn't that?
Yeah.
That is correct.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is why they say there's no such thing as something for nothing. Doesn't exist.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Mike says he plays an online game, interactive game with members all over the world and automatic translate and chat between them. That's pretty cool. Yep. For those of you, we talked a little, we really haven't talked much about gaming on Tech for Senior. I mean, I guess we're assuming that seniors don't do gaming, but that's not entirely true.
Nope.
No, I think it's not. Neither the three of us. I don't think any of us do any gaming unless you
I don't have time. I don't have time. My wife all day long, but that's not the kind of gaming we're talking about because she does solitaire virtually all day long.
Well, I think I told you guys back in the about 15 years ago. Like I was really big into flight sim. I was a flight surgeon in the military and I did a lot of flight simming. So when Flight Sim came out with their new version this last summer, I geared up and bought my new fancy PC that's got, a bazillion, it goes like crazy and it's got all this RAM in it because I was all, geared up for Flight Sim and I bought it and installed it. And I'm so anxious to get into it, but I just don't have the time at the end of the day. If I start getting into Flight Sim, I'm going to be like, I'll be hooked. So it's so addictive. And pilots all around the world are using this. In fact, it was sort of the perfect storm at Christmas. What happened in December was this: the PlayStation 5, I think it was, got sold out early December. So everybody was looking for gifts and this last year. And so they started purchasing and buying up all the Oculus headsets, right? And so they became in very short supply. And right in mid-December, Flight Sim released their virtual reality package for Flight Sim. So every flight simmer in the world all wanted one of those Oculus Quests to plug into Flight Sim, right? And so it made them impossible to get all through January. I mean, it was just sold out worldwide. So I still dabble in it a little bit. I haven't hooked up my Oculus yet to it, but it's pretty crazy stuff. And like Mike was saying, Mike Hungerman was saying, I mean, you can talk and fly with people all over the world and you can do simultaneous translation. In fact, there's lots of YouTube videos I watch. They have fly-ins where instead of us making videos, they actually have, you just go to their site and today they're going to do a fly-in between Vancouver and Seattle. So you all meet in Vancouver and you all pop in your plane, you take off and you fly to Seattle as a group, right? And they've got thousands and thousands of people watching that video. Like it's amazing the number of people they have and how this all works. So it's pretty crazy good stuff. So
yeah, we've got one of the members of the Central Florida Computer Society has been into Flight Simulator for quite a long time, and he's got all the bells and whistles and so on, and he just raves about the new version and how accurate and how realistic it is.
Well, I mean, it's my friend Gord Rose, who's going to actually, I was talking to him about maybe coming on the show and doing a little talk. He's a pilot, but he became a pilot as a senior, right? And he has his own plane now, and it's talk about all the technology and how he flies, and some of the video work he does is pretty darn cool. So I'm having coffee with him and see if we can maybe get something going, because he's a pilot that became a pilot as a senior, and I thought that's pretty cool. I think old Gord's a year older than I am, so
I just read something yesterday. I don't know which airline, whether it was United or American, but one of them is going to be opening up employment to novices. You don't have to be a pilot because they want diversity.
Oh,
so they will do the training, and I'm sure when we're talking about training, flight simulators, which is pretty much the same thing as what you got at home, fancier, but still it's the same darn thing. Most pilots don't really fly planes anyway. The only thing they do is they assist in the landing, but outside of that, autopilot does everything else. And if you get right down to it, autopilot could also take off and land. It's gotten that sophisticated. Yep.
Did you hear this week that Elon Musk and their not the Starlink, but one of the next the charter, they're going to be taking people up,
yep,
and they're going to charge them to go up into space, right? But the person that's going to be driving the thing is just one of the people that is going with them. It's not like a pilot. It's not like anybody that flies anything. It's just going to be one of the paying customers that gets a bit of extra training, and they're going to pilot the thing. And I thought, well, I hope it's as good as Tesla. I hope it's going to work.
Well, they're getting ready to put hotels up in space. Yeah. We had that on our Facebook page. Because they actually figure that people are going to have vacations out in space.
Well, Joel says, is there any word if Wise will be accepting the next round of watch orders? You got any on that?
I don't know. I'm waiting for it. I'm on the list. I told you I had wanted to buy them for Christmas presents. I figured it's a cheap Christmas present at $20 a shot. I'm sure it won't be $20 on the next go around, but it still will be a nice Christmas present for lots of the grandkids and great grandkids, but they're totally sold out. So yeah, I'm on the list. I'm waiting.
I'm going to be doing a video on mine. I think you might have a place where you can order one from me. I don't think I'm going to use mine. You'll see my video on it when I put it together.
Okay.
So Jim Gold says they don't charge them to go into space. It's the return ticket that's expensive. They should have free tip to space, right? It's the
free up. God help you coming down.
Yeah. That's it. Excuse me. Let's have a look here. Irving says, last week you gave me the link to your presentation about routers and the Orbi. Being in Canada and customer of Rogers Ignite, I found out that they don't care for bridging, but if I insist, there is a product called Eros, which they recommend. Are you familiar with it? Yes. So, Irving, the Eero is one of the mesh routers that are there. There's many different mesh routers. I have the Orbi. There's Eero. There's probably, I don't know, 15, 20 different companies. And Eero is one of the companies that make mesh routers, and they're great. They're not a problem. And if Rogers wants to use that, that's fine. I would check in. I guess Rogers you're talking about cable modems. I guess Rogers in your area is providing cable services to you. Then I would check with their router and make sure. I think I told everybody last week that with my new gigabit service that I got, my cable company came out and put a new router in. And I was talking with the guy, and of course I wanted bridge to my Orbi because it's a mesh router. And he says, this is a mesh router. He says, we'll put all the mesh units around your house. It works great. It's more advanced than the Orbi. And I thought, really? And so I still had it linked over to my Orbi because I'm comfortable with that and I use it. But so it is, so you want to check with your cable company, because sometimes the new routers they're putting in are pretty sophisticated. But the Eero is fine. It works great, and it's a mesh router and will be fine. Let's see here. Ron says, "Oh, e-bike question. There is a learning curve with e-bikes and seniors especially. For me, stopping is the most. That's called crashing, right? I have put 1,410 miles on mine since July of 2020. Get knee and elbow pads. Good point. Right. Just getting into dirt road and ride. I don't think I want to do. I don't. You know, I had a $6,000 mountain bike I bought 20 years ago when some of my buddies wanted to take me mountain biking, and I used it once. I started to go down the mountain trail with all those rocks and got so scared I walked down the trail, and that was it. So I'm sort of a flat road guy, you know. Anyway, but the elbow pads and knee pads is probably a good idea.
Probably should probably wear the same kind of protection people do then when they ride the big bikes.
Yeah. Vale says, yeah, the new Vale got one of these rascal. You know, Vale's a friend of mine in Mesa. We do our tech support together. He's always one-upping me, you know, because I think he got the first Orbi and then I got mine, and I thought, okay, now I'm up to him. But he's got the new Orbi Wi-Fi 6 now. But man, is it expensive. I think in Canada, the 2-version Orbi Wi-Fi 6 is like $800 or something. But anyway, he says it's it's Canadian, which is probably like $100 US, right? But he says that's that works great. So just remember, if you're going to get it, you can certainly pick up the Wi-Fi 6. Irving says it's wireless. So if you are broadcasting wirelessly, I'm not sure why, you know, just use your 2.4 or 5 gigahertz if you're going to be picking up it wirelessly. I'm not sure what the point of the Eero would be. So I'm not quite sure what that is. Vale says $499. Yeah, that's what I said. Yeah, that's about 800 Canadian. No, maybe about 700 Canadian. So yeah, that's 500 US. So yeah,
still an expensive router. It is a mesh router, so
it is. And you know, you have to have. I mean, you have to have a pretty darn big house.
Yeah,
I would think. You know, it would be fairly big house for you to have any coverage problems.
Yeah, even I don't have a mesh router, and the router I have comes from Comcast, which is the provider that I use. But I have Wi-Fi out in my garage, and that's pretty good distance from here.
Mike says he's got an Orbi 5 and have had it for 2 years. Yeah. With Ring video floodlights outside, it was essential. I have good Wi-Fi signal on 4 sides of the house. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt about that. I mean, it really does work well. We have one satellite. We have one satellite upstairs on our main. That's the main floor, and we have one on their main floor here. This summer, when we had both my daughter and son-in-law here, and everyone was working from home. We had a lot of devices plugged in, and we used. We're big internet consumers, and it really did work well. We didn't have any problems. So. Yeah, I mean, it does work nice. It works great. Mesh routers Richard said, mesh routers are wireless. Yes, I mean, I guess you could say that. Mesh routers are wireless by definition. Yes, you are moving data from wirelessly for sure. And Wi-Fi controllers for our standby generator and solar PV panel controllers. Oh, yeah, lots of peripherals you can cook on as well.
Well, the main thing is that you don't wind up cutting your speed in half for each time that you.
Yeah.
That's the reason for having a mesh router.
Well, the other thing too
Instead
is I pointed out in my video on Monday was, it reallocates the bandwidth for depending on the need, so that if you have an area that is using a lot of needs a huge demand, then it selectively moves the data into that area. So that's sort of cool. Vale says I'm running 33 devices on a system and all work. Yeah, exactly.
Most people don't realize that once you start adding smart devices, Internet of Things devices, the amount of connections you have just are phenomenal.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm using a Vast Omni, which of course has a part of that is a hardware that hooks into the router, and it monitors all of those connections. But I'm just amazed that it just too many things hooked up. You don't realize until you actually go to look at it and say, what the heck am I doing with 40 something devices?
Yeah, I have a Fing, F-I-N-G, which is similar to that device, and I can see all the devices that I have. I bought an extension cord with plugs on the end of it, and it's all Wi-Fi. There's 4 plugs and 3 USB. I'm looking at it now, and 4 USB plugs in it, and it all works through my Miss A.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm able to turn any of those switches off and on the extension cord on the
selectively,
and it's great. And it wasn't expensive, but it added the whole bar itself is 1, and then the 4 electrical plugs are each 1, and then the USBs are collective. You turn them either all on or all off. So there's actually 6 devices in that one device.
So you're going to share that with everybody on Monday, yep. I hope.
Oh, I've had it for so long, I even forgot I had it, except I was looking while we got in the discussion on that. So I'll have to take a look at that and see if I can put something together.
Clark says, do you guys see the Consumer Report has a good article about current network routers? They are very positive about Wi-Fi 6. I haven't seen that. Thanks, Clark. I haven't seen that. I do get Consumer Reports. I guess I'll have to go and have a look at that. But thanks very much. Have either of you two seen the article?
No.
Mike says, with all the IoT in our home, I decided to get. Oh, so Mike's going to get the Avast Omni. Hey, Bob, do you want to tell everyone, just review everyone what the Omni is?
Omni is a combination of software and hardware. Software is one of Avast's better protection plans with lots of goodies thrown in. And the Omni part, or the hardware part, monitors all things that go through your home network and protects you when they start misbehaving. It also covers all your devices, including all your smart devices. And I was looking at the statistics and said, okay, how many devices is all your devices? Well, they set a cap at 1,000. If you got 1,000 devices hooked up to your system, I don't know how much of a system you have left, but that is their cap. They'll protect up to 1,000 devices. And right now, it's $40. That includes hardware and software. You can't get the software for $40.
But it's still not available in Canada, right?
No, unfortunately, no. Just in the U.S.
If you're in Canada, I would take a look then at the Fing, F-I-N-G.
Okay. Joel says he has a TP750 extender. It works for him on both 2.4 and 5. No notable slowdown. Yeah, but always remember, with an extender, you are going to cut your speed in half, and it is a second SSID, so you have to log on to a different network each time you use it. That's one of the nice things about the mesh router, is it's just one It's one SSID for the whole house. So it doesn't matter how many units you have. It's all works on one. So I guess the reason he's got nothing better to do, so because Chris isn't home, right? That's why he wants to listen to us, right? He's got nothing better to do. Vale says you need a map, otherwise, if you forget how the device was set up, it could be a mess. You will need a map, otherwise, if you said how a device was set up, it could be a mess. Okay. Here's so here's the link to the consumer report. Thanks, Ron. The question we had last week, which we have the answer for, is how do you save the chat? Now we are broadcasting this on StreamYard, which is different than Zoom. And in fact, the chat is recorded, so you don't have to save it as part of the video. We had that question last week. We didn't know the answer, but that's the answer. Mike says, the nice thing about Mesh Network is all your devices are set up to the same settings. Right. In fact, I've had my Mesh Orbi for 3 years. I haven't done anything to it. Vale told me once, we talked to Vale when I was down there, he says, you should check this and check that. And anyway, all the software is updated. I really haven't had to do anything with it.
Does it have a default? Does it have a default password?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I changed. No, I think you have to create one. I can't remember. It's so long ago since I did it. Oh, Vale says, yeah, Orbi. He was telling me about this. Vale was telling me, he said Orbi has a thing called as an Omni called Armor. Do you know about that, Bob?
No.
So I think this is a setup as Orbi has a similar setup as Omni called Armor. I think that software that's included, I think that's a purchase software that you add to the Orbi that does sort of something like that, the same thing.
Well, the software on the Omni is Avast's same software that you buy to protect your system now. Okay.
But I think
it's their antivirus program.
Right.
And then it has the added feature of the hardware part.
Mike says, Mike, who has the Orbi, said Armor was just recently added. And so I guess it's a software package that you can add to the Orbi. It's not included in the Orbi. And it's added to that. So
and with Avast, it's just the opposite. The protection was always there. It's the hardware that was the added component.
Right. Whereas Vale says Armor is Netgear. So that's right. It's Netgear owns the Armor software.
If you'll notice, I'm not adding a lot to this conversation because where I live, my house is so small that I can almost reach the end of the where the Wi-Fi needs to be. So I don't have a problem. So I've never touched any of these mesh routers or any of that. I've never had anything
I don't
to do
either. My house is 1,500 square feet. We're just over that. So
well, I'm about a third of that.
Okay. I don't need a mesh router.
Well, Huey, I feel bad. What would you like to say? Have you got something you want to bring up?
No, that's fine. I'm just, sometimes I need to let somebody else talk.
Yes. Let's see. What is this? Mike says an additional benefit to Omni is that your other computers can join the Omni protection and pair with it gaining protection for no additional cost over the basic subscription price.
That's correct.
Mm-hmm. Yes, indeed. So are they popular or Omni?
See, the regular subscription, you have either one device or up to maybe 10 devices. That's the most expensive. In Omni, your top is 1,000 devices. Well, you can't even compare it.
I
don't know for how long that'll last, but I mean, I've been a beta tester, so I didn't pay anything for this. I've been at it since the start, since it first came out. And that's what's still connected. And that's what's all my devices are now protected through. Just like with Huey, something is monitoring all those smart devices.
Yeah, the one I got, it was one of the you put money up front and you
Right.
might get the device and not get the device, and
Yes.
and I got it in the mail and plugged it in, and I haven't touched it for a couple of years. And
Right.
it reports to me every once in a while, "Oh, you were up for 100% for the month." Well, this month's not going to be that, because we were down for a couple of minutes today, right in the middle of the show. So.
Yep. Let's hope that never happens to Ron, because it happens to Ron. There goes the apple cart.
It did. Well, it happened. You know, it happened once. I live in an area where all the stuff's underground, all our cabling's underground, and it was close to the old hospital. So the infrastructure of the power grid is very redundant in our area, right? Because it's so even though we get a lot of big windstorms and we get lots of power outages, it never affects our area because of the redundancy. But this year, just up the street, I was right in the middle of a presentation. It was one evening, I was doing a presentation to a club, and boom, the whole house went dark. There was I guess 2 blocks away, there was a tree that went down onto a power line, and it did knock the power out. Which I think I lived in this house for 40 years. That's the first time that we ever had a power outage. Yeah, Mike says get Starlink as a backup. Yeah, but you still got to need power to run it.
You got to have power for the Starlink. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, you need power to run the darn thing. So it went out. And the other one was we only had, out of the 60, how many episodes of TFS have we done?
55, 55 is coming up.
55. Out of all the episodes, we only had one snafu, eh? That was the one where I got locked out, and then we had to disconnect and reconnect. That was, but like Jim Gould says, he says, if people don't expect problems, watch television, right? So, I mean, we are doing some pretty crazy technical stuff, eh? I mean, we're all in different parts of the world. We're all sort of meeting together. We're all sort of connecting through the internet and doing a live show that's being broadcast out to 2 different streaming services. I mean, if we had said we were going to do that 2 or 3 years ago, we would have thought, man, this would be difficult. But if you guys, so everybody who is on the show today, if you do not use StreamYard, it's free. You know, you can, it's pretty darn cool. I mean, it's so easy to use and it's free. I would certainly encourage you to play around with it and try. It's pretty neat technology.
But you have to realize, as a host, it does consume lots and lots of resources.
Yes, it does. It does indeed. Mike says, thanks for gathering, Ron. Enjoyed it. Yep, we're getting close. We got 2 minutes left.
Yep.
And we'll be back again. You guys want to do it again next week?
Fine with me.
We'll have to. It's going to be a long day because we have the learning Chromebooks shortly after it. So
we have a coffee before. We'll just have a coffee.
Yeah. We yak before. We can talk about what we're going to talk about for the Chromebook.
Maybe what we'll do is we'll practice our Chromebook presentation on it before the following, eh? And Jim says StreamYard is great. Yeah, it sure is. Ron says please do it again. I mean, I sort of have fun doing it.
We don't know where it's going to go when we start the meeting, and we just we come up with a topic, and then the people who are watching us start asking questions, and away we go.
I know, it's sort of cool. Vale says need 5G update for home internet.
Well, you have to be able to get 5G. You know, all the talk is out there, but if you don't have my phone depends on Wi-Fi. I can't even get decent phone service because, well, T-Mobile just doesn't have a tower here. Neither does anybody else. So 5G is great, especially if you're in a metropolis. If you're any place in the outskirts, you can go whistle for 5G for who knows how long.
Well, Vale was telling me that he's got 5G with T-Mobile now in our park, in our resort. So he's getting some pretty fast speeds.
That's
and,
Mesa.
Yeah,
That's Mesa.
Yeah.
That's not Meadow Lake.
Yeah.
It's not even Florida. I think there's a couple of blocks in Orlando and maybe a couple other places, and that's about it where you get really true 5G.
Yeah. So anyway, and John said went smooth on Facebook, so that's great. We had a few people on Facebook looking at it, which was sort of cool. And we will. It's now top of the hour.
Top of the hour.
And just Vale can have the last word. He says T-Mobile is starting 5G internet for home. Is that a typo or what's? I don't know.
I'm sure
Internet
for your home in Mesa. Right. Well, that's good. Yes. So anyway, so all right, you guys. Well, thanks everyone for coming. Thanks for us over on for you over on YouTube. Thanks for Facebook, and we will see everybody for the show on Monday, which is the same time, same place. And this is being recorded, and we'll leave the recordings up on both respective services.
And if you're not doing anything on Sunday. The Central Florida Computer Society and SEMCO, the Southeast Michigan Computer Organization, are combining our meetings so they could have a presentation by me on Evernote, which is all platforms except for Linux, but it's on all of the platforms. I'm going to be talking about Evernote, and then they're going to do a Linux SIG from SEMCO right after it. So that's starting at, we open the doors at 1. We start about 1:30 Eastern time this Sunday, and just contact me and I will send you the link to register for the meeting, and you'll be able to join us.
That's at Huey.net.
Huey.net.
Yep, Huey.net.
So Huey didn't have a lot to say today, but you did have the last word.
That's great.
All right, everyone. We'll see you in a week's time, same place. Bye now.
Bye, everybody.